Hello bankers and payment gateways owners or other financial institutions owners or employees in Indonesia. Right now we are having Mr. Morten Hofstad from MYPINPAD, which will introduce you about what MYPINPAD is and what MYPINPAD can offer to bring better business for you.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. MYPINPAD is protects all the information, sensitive information that you may use a touch screen device for example, a POS terminal, a mobile phone device. And it enables all the information to be hosted or as a platform service for every banking platform. All the information that you enter into a touchscreen device will be secure and it will never be stored in the device itself. Give an example for how you can use it. Many of you here in Indonesia use websites to order your airline tickets, and you choose your seats, you choose your timings, the meals, and if you're lucky you choose your emergency exit and have long leg room. After that you go to a payment site, you push in your card details, your CCV code, and you get thrown to a page where you're expecting to receive an SMS with a one-time password, or what we call an OTP. And if the one-time password comes, you ditch that in and the transaction goes through. We can remove the whole OTP and we can use our secure technology that we also have a patent for. So you can use the card pin, the ATM card pin that follows your card, and you can enter it into the touchscreen device, your handheld device, a pad or an MPOS terminal. So when you do that and you use your PIN code 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the handheld device read it as completely something else. So we encrypt the information, and when transaction goes through, that information disappears from the device itself. This is a technology that VocaLink in the UK, VocaLink is owned by all the banks in the United Kingdom, is now rolling out in the United Kingdom, and we are now looking to do this throughout Asia. So what actually happens is that I have a mobile phone, and I'm going to use the example of VocaLink. Here is the VocaLink application, and VocaLink have a member cards, like for example you have an institutions in this country that have member banks. So you register your card, and here for example we use Barclay, and I want to do a mobile top-up. So I top up my phone, I choose then the mobile operator I want to top up. So for example here Vodafone, then the amount £5, and then the mobile number 10 digits. Then I top up the amount, and here you're usually receiving an OTP, but in this case you can just use your card pin 2626, and I push OK. Transaction goes through and the top-up completed. So you can, this is an example of a mobile banking application. All the banks have mobile banking apps. The payment gateways are integrated with the travel agencies and the e-commerce / m-commerce companies, so you can remove the whole OTP scenario. So what you have and what you know is your PIN code. You will never forget that. And you are in the electronic mode, you are surfing on the internet in the mode when you're doing the purchase. But if you're relying on an SMS or another channel, that OTP may never be received by you. This is one example of MYPINPAD's user areas.
And you said that in terms of data, the failure rate of using OTP is 40%, right?
Yes, we have from some payment gateways in this country have told us that the failure rate is 40%. On a global scale, it's much, much lower. However, it seems to me that the OTP is an issue in this country.
So you are saying that by removing this OTP and replacing it with your MYPINPAD technology, which means the banks will have a chance to have more transactions go through.
Yes, I will be very happy if the banks jumped straight over technology, but seeing is believing, and another way of really building the proof of concept here is actually to give the customer the option to use both. Okay. So if you have an OTP and you used to use that for 30 years, you will continue using it. But if it fails and you have to do the whole interaction with the purchase one more time, and you hope it will not fail again, you can have an option to use your card PIN. And if that works, well, what is the chance where you're going to do that next time? So that is a typical areas where you can use MYPINPAD. So when you do a PIN code on your mobile phone, which is basically to move the ATM from being an ATM over to your mobile phone, there are other areas you can use. For example, in these countries or Indonesia, you have 130 million debit cards. When you're going to buy an airline ticket or buy something, you are depending on using a POS terminal or ATM from your bank. However, if you use the ATM PIN to authenticate the transaction, you will now be able to enroll all debit card that is not belonging to the schemes like Visa and MasterCard to also be enrolled, be used for E and M commerce. So that's a huge revenue generating areas for the financial institution and for the payment game.
So you are saying that by using your technology, the consumers like I am can now pay the online, for example, online merchants with my debit card?
Yes, you can do that as long as you use our technology. So you're kind of enrolling the cards to be used for M and e-commerce as well.
Oh, because right now what happens here is we can only pay them with credit cards, or we have to go to ATM, which is actually very nuisance, very annoying for us.
Absolutely. So we can actually, what we do, we're moving the ATM over to the phone and widen up the user area by using secure login and secure data touch on your handheld device.
Wow, this is great. This is great for consumers and also for the banks, because which means the chances are the more transactions will the banks get, right?
Absolutely. This is good for the banks, good for the merchants and so on. What about the high street merchants on the street? If you go walk around in Jakarta, yes, you can go and you find POS terminals in all the malls, but when you go out in the outskirts of the rural areas or into the islands of Indonesia, cash is king. You cannot use a POS terminal. Well, you can, but it's quite expensive for either the bank to deploy or for the merchant to buy. So our proposition for MPOS, as we call it, where today's climate is that the bank have a cost to deploy a POS terminal. A POS terminal costs approximately $300 to $500, where we have a solution using the same technology and the same integration as you did with the previous propositions I talked about, where you have your handheld device, you plug in a small dongle here, and you swipe your card there and ditch in the PIN code of the card on the merchant's smart device, which can be an Apple phone or a Windows phone or an Android phone. And the transaction goes through, and such a small dongle costs only probably around $30, and compared with the $300 to $500 scenario you find in the high street shops today. So,
okay, you're saying that your technology can also empower merchants which right now cannot accept payments with cards. Then they can.
now they can, and it's a cheap way, a low-cost way to deploy it. You use the existing infrastructure that is already there, and you put a dongle connected to the merchant's smart device.
And how much is the dongle?
Well, we're not selling the dongles, but our approximately price is around $30, which the bank can just turn to the existing supplier of POS terminals to require a dongle. We implement our technology into that dongle and give the merchant an application on their phone, so they can use their phone in combination with the dongle as an MPOS device for consumers to come into your store and swipe the card.
Okay, so from what I hear from you right now is you are offering 3 products actually from MYPINPAD.
Yes.
Yeah, the first one is the technology that can replace OTP.
Yes.
The second one is the technology that enable consumers to pay with debit cards.
Mm-hmm.
The third one is the technology that will empower merchants that right now cannot accept payment with cards to now they can.
That's correct, and you can easily adopt new merchants for a low cost.
So what will be the impact for the banks that will use these 3 products of MYPINPAD in terms of business-wise?
A much more secure way of using your card for purchases for e-commerce and m-commerce, replacing the OTP, which is leaning on another channel. You are trusting your own platform and your own technology that you adopt from us, so you will have increased revenue there. And the last, for the MPOS proposition, you can have 10 more merchants for the same cost as you have to get 1 merchant today. Okay.
Very great, Mr. Morton. Thank you very much. Do you
have
a closing speech for this?
You can just call me anytime. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.